Yeah, you've told that story about 1,000 times.
I know, because I know you have, but Addison hasn't.
It was a dark and stormy night when the werewolves allowed Addison to join them around the sacred fire pit, and Addison did her best to ask them questions, and the werewolves did their best to avoid answering them. Wolf Tales might have left Zombies fans in the dark, but it did hint towards there being a Zombies 3. Keep watching for everything you missed in the Disney special, and watch until the end to find out if the A in Addison stands for Alpha Wolf or Alien.
Weird.
One of the first clues for Zombies 3 is dropped by Addison at the very beginning of the special. The werewolves have voted, and Addison is allowed to join them around the fire pit. But she doesn't yet know what the sacred space is called, so she takes a few wild guesses. And it's safe to assume that they aren't random. First, Addison calls the fire pit a moon circle, which could be a hint that Zombies 3 will indeed have something to do with aliens. Then, Addison calls the fire pit a star space, which is yet another clue that the threequel will have something to do with outer space. Lastly, Addison guesses that the fire pit is called the Howlarium, which is an amalgamation of the words howl and planetarium. Her third guess pretty much confirms that Z3 will welcome aliens into the mix. After all, why would Addison assume that the Wolves' fire pit was a space theme? The 6-minute Disney special doesn't waste any time when it comes to dropping clues. The next one is brought to us by Wynter, who tells Addison that coming to the fire pit is a rite of passage for all werewolves.
Coming here is a rite of passage for all werewolves.
But wait, last time we checked, Addison wasn't a werewolf. So what is she doing at the fire pit besides roasting s'mores, of course? Willa chimes in to say that Addison was allowed to visit the fire pit because she earned it. She also reveals that the wolves took a vote, which is why Addison was brought to the pit in the first place. Clearly, the wolves want to thank Addison for saving them in Zombies 2. But is that the only reason why Addison has joined them? Or is there something else going on behind the scenes? Why would they bring Addison to such a magical and sacred place if she wasn't in the running to become a werewolf? Keep watching to find out.
Come with us.
What's so important?
You are.
We already know how the zombies were created. They sprung to life after a plant explosion, but we have no idea where the Moonstone comes from. The werewolves nervously changed the subject every time Addison asks about the Moonstone and how it came to be. This got us thinking, do the werewolves actually know the answer to these questions? Are they calling it a werewolf secret instead of admitting that no one knows where the Moonstone came from? Either way, these unanswered questions will most likely be answered when Zombies 3 becomes a reality. What does Kristoff from Frozen have in common with Wyatt from Zombies 2? Well, first of all, they both know what it feels like to be lost in the woods, and secondly, they have both seen something magical happen that they couldn't quite explain. For Kristoff, that was watching the trolls use magic to heal Anna, and for Wyatt, that was being attacked by a scary creature that turned out to be a school bag. Did we mention that both of these stories happened on a dark and stormy night? Anyway, Wyatt's story has a few holes in it, but we'll point out the most obvious one. There's just no way Wyatt would get spooked by his backpack. He's a mighty wolf, and besides, why would he repeat that embarrassing story if he hadn't truly been attacked by something in the woods? Did anyone notice that the monster attacking him looked a lot like a white werewolf? Or that the monster's white fur had a hint of blue to it? At the beginning of Wyatt's story, we can see a full moon in the night sky. So could it be that there's an actual werewolf who transforms on the full moon, living in Seabrook? And is this werewolf the Alpha, aka Addison? Keep watching to find out. In Zombies 2, Zoe drops a Little Red Riding Hood reference when she looks at Wyatt and says, "What big eyes you have."
Oh, what big eyes you have.
No way!
But in the Disney special, Wolf Tales, Wyatt and Wynter also reference the ancient fairy tale. Wyatt tells the story of being lost in the woods, whereas Wynter tells Addison about one of her ancestors getting a thorn stuck in her foot. Wynter goes on to say that the thorn caused her ancestor to howl for the very first time. She also explains how this incident caused the wolves to become excellent singers. Well, both of Wyatt and Wynter's statements can be traced back to the fairy tale. First of all, Little Red Riding Hood had to cross the long-lost wood to get to her grandma's house. And second of all, Little Red Riding Hood stepped on a thorn and received help from a hooded creature who disappeared before she could see his face, which is what happened to Wyatt when he got lost in the woods.
When I looked, there was no one there. Then I heard the sound again.
If there's one thing fans immediately noticed, it's that Zed wasn't in the Disney special. According to Willa, Addison earned her spot around the fire pit, but in the end, it was Zed who saved the day by using his zombie strength to save the Moonstone. So why wasn't he at the fire pit with Addison? On a side note, did anyone notice that there were sparks flying between Addison and Wyatt in the Disney short? Tell us which couple you ship most in the comments, Zed and Addison or Addison and Wyatt. Before we reveal what Wolf Tales means for Zombies 3, let's talk plot holes. During Wyatt's story, he reveals that he used to scavenge around human campsites for goods. But in Zombies 2, it was revealed that the werewolves had lived in the Forbidden Forest for centuries, and humans weren't allowed to set foot in that forest. So why would they be camping there in the first place? Then Willa reveals that she snuck out of the forest and into a nearby town to grab some food on her way home. However, Willa gets trapped in the store for the night. Fans quickly notice that Willa paid for a bag of chips using human money, which she shouldn't have had access to. Problem is, Willa ate half the store and never paid for any of those items. So why did she pay for the chips in the first place? Did you spot any more plot holes? Tell us in the comments. Addison had 3 great questions to ask her werewolf friends, but instead of answering them, Wyatt, Willa, and Wynter each took turns telling campfire stories. By the end of the special, Addison realizes that she's not going to get any answers. Willa tells Addison that they can never reveal their secrets to someone who isn't a werewolf unless they choose to become one.
You guys actually didn't answer any of my questions.
But when Addison points out what Willa just said, she immediately changes the subject. She tells Addison that it's getting late and that they should go home, when at first, the wolves had said that they had all night to answer Addison's questions. Do you think Addison will become a werewolf if given the choice in Zombies 3? Werewolf Tales ended on a cliffhanger just like Zombies 2, and it left us with tons of questions. But while the special didn't give us much to go on, fans did notice that some of the wolves looked a little different. Wynter's hair is a lot shorter in Wolf Tales than it is in Zombies 2, and Wyatt and Willa's hair looks a little different too. We also noticed that Addison is wearing her hair like the wolves do, despite not being a werewolf. After her Moonstone necklace failed to light up, Addison reverted back to her normal look. But in the special, she's all wolfed out. Could this be yet another clue that Addison will become a werewolf in the threequel? Or was her hair done up that way to match the overall look of Wolf Tales? We know that Disney Channel designers like to switch things up, so we can definitely expect to see our favorite characters rocking some brand new looks in Zombies 3.
We crushed it! We nailed it! We so rock! Yes!
At the end of Zombies 2, a blue meteor falls from the sky and lands outside of Seabrook, causing Addison's clock to go berserk. There seems to be a connection between the blue moonstone and time, which is something Wyatt talks about in Wolf Tales before being cut off by Addison. Wyatt recalls a story where he lost track of time. He then goes on to say that time is a flat circle. Could this be a hint that time will be affected in Zombies 3? Tell us what you think in the comments. Alliteration plays a pivotal role in the Zombies naming game. We know that the werewolves all have names that start with the letter W, and we know that the zombies have names that either start with the letter Z or contain the letter Z. But what does that mean for Addison? Since the Moonstone comes from outer space and Addison has unique and magical hair, it's possible that her bloodline has alien DNA in it. But could werewolves also share the same DNA? There's a theory that Addison is the white wolf we see attacking Wyatt in the forest on the full moon. Unlike Wyatt, Willa, and Wynter, Addison isn't a werewolf. She's a breed of her own, which could be why the Moonstone necklace temporarily lit up for her. Addison's hair lit up like a moonstone when the unidentified blue object came crashing down from the sky. If the werewolves get their power and immortality from the Moonstone, they could be connected to aliens in more ways than one. Addison could very well be the alpha wolf they've been searching for. She did help them save the Moonstone like the prophecy predicted after all. We'll find out where the Moonstone comes from sooner than later, but for now we're sticking with our theory that the A in Addison stands for Alpha Wolf. And that's a wrap. Do you think that the werewolves actually know where the Moonstone came from, or are they lying to Addison so they don't come off as clueless? Tell us your theories in the comments. Thanks for watching. For more fun content, be sure to subscribe to The Things, and don't forget to give this video a big thumbs up. We'll see you next time.